In this video, I will be sharing with you how at some stage in my life, losing most of my friends without exaggeration at that time was the best thing that happened to me, and it really set me free. So make sure you watch this whole video, stay till the end. I'll be sharing the moral of the story. So here it goes. The year is 2009. I had just graduated from high school. I was going to university. And I was excited. I wanted a new, fresh start. I was troubled to a certain extent in the later years of high school. I mean, I've had a pretty troubled teenage years. The teenage part of my life is the least pleasant, with the worst memories. I had tons of self-esteem issues about all kinds of things. So I wanted to go to university, and I really was optimistic. I wanted a fresh start away from, because it was in a different city, not too far, but I decided to go live there, even though I could have just commuted with the bus. But I intentionally decided to go live there, met a couple of friends, new friends there, not the friends I'm going to be referring to, the ones that I lost. And I've decided, hey, I'm going to move in with them. And I really just wanted to get out of the house, move out of the house, and most importantly, I wanted to be away from my high school friends. Why is that? Because they, and I mean, look, right now, I just send them nothing but love and blessings. But at the time, they were kind of like, we were kind of like a wolf pack, right? Meaning everyone in the group would just kind of make fun of each other, bully one another, and I particularly was targeted in the verbal bullying. It wasn't physical bullying, right? Verbal bullying. Just because I was shy in those years, and just because you could just tell at the time, like I had low self-esteem, and so when the bullies see that, they will target you, right? That's what a bully does, right? That's just what a bully does. So so that was when I was 17, 18. I really, it wasn't pleasant at all. So I really wanted to get away from them. And I went to university and I moved to a different town. But what happened is they would call me often, and they would want to come and party where I was in the university that I was in the city that I was in. They would come, they want to party, they want to smoke weed, they want to drink alcohol, they want to go and I'll tell you a story in a second, just to show you the kinds of friends that I had in high school, and you'll understand why I wanted to get away from them. So I wouldn't be able to say no to them, because again, at the time, I wasn't particularly outspoken. Again, I had a shyness to me. Saying no didn't exactly come easy to me, and I wouldn't say no to them. And I'd be like, yeah, sure, man, come in, because I had an apartment, right? So they wanted to come and crash and sleep over, and they wanted to go to parties. So just to show you, one time they came down and we went to party in the university area, right? House parties, blah blah. And one of the people in my group of friends, he stole like someone's phone. He stole a bunch of things, and then they all we got confronted by the people that we went into their house party, and we ended up having a brawl. I'm not kidding, like a full-blown brawl. But we had numerical advantage, and we didn't do nice things to them physically, right? I remember this one guy. He really had it. He was kicked. He was, and unfortunately, I even participated in this, because, like I said, this wasn't me. I hated this. But I couldn't say no to these friends. They were like, think of like they were just bully types, yeah? And so every time they called, they wanted to come, they wanted to crash in my apartment, they would come, we would smoke weed, even though at the time I wanted a fresh start. I didn't really want to do all of this, right? And so what I ended up doing is I would just do, when in Rome, do what the Romans would do, right? And that's what I did. I just drank with them, smoked weed with them. And that went on for the first 2 years in my university, because they liked coming, because I had my own apartment. They could sleep there. It was like a place we could, venture out. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, not all of those friends that I'm referring to were bad people. In fact, most of them really aren't. But you know how it is when you're young and stupid and a teenager. There was a few bad apples in there. But anyway, After a couple of years of that, I was like, enough. I began to really just feel dissatisfied with my inability to say no, with my inability to speak up, with my inability to just just get a new start, man. You know, just and it was just so hard to just let go of that for some reason, you know. I guess old habits die hard. We find it difficult as humans to let go of old habits, old friends, old things, right? But really, they set you free when you do that. So I decided, you know what? That's it. I've had enough. I stopped answering their calls. I stopped speaking to them. Just stopped, you know, responding to their messages. And I guess eventually they got the memo, right? Because they just would get no response. And man, that really set me free. I cannot tell you, I mean, wow, did that set me free? Wow, was that amazing? Was that really a turning point in my life? Because it was actually when I let go of those friends, when I stopped hanging out with them, when I stopped doing what they do, when I just decided, no, I'm not gonna do that. At the time, I just didn't want to drink anymore regularly, like, because they'd come often, they'd come down like a couple times a month. Didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to just get high all night. I didn't want to go and crash into parties. I also didn't want to just be eating like junk food like I had been for the first 2-3 years of my university time. I wanted to really make changes. I really wanted to improve my health. I wanted to develop my confidence. I wanted to develop my ability to speak up, to say yes, to say no when I want to do these things. And that moment, I just decided. That's it. These people were not good for me. They weren't good for me. They were holding me back unconsciously. It's not like they were trying to do it on purpose. They were just being themselves. God bless them, you know? And that's it. And so when I did that, man, I felt free. And then because I had also been making friends in university, right? Like new friends. And I just started spending more time with those friends. On weekends, instead of spending time with my high school friends, because they weren't coming down anymore, because I just wouldn't respond to them. I would just spend time with my new friends. And they were the types of friends that resonated with the type of person that I wanted to become. There were no bullying going on. There was a lot of joking around, but not bullying. There's a difference here between verbal bullying. You know when someone's trying to bring you down. One up you, it's called, right? There was a ton of joking with my new friends in university, which I had been making since the first year, but I didn't spend too much time with them. Like on weekends, that's when you spend most of the time with your friends, right? I just would spend time with those high school buddies, right? And I started to spend more time with them, and man, they resonated. I wanted that type of vibe, jokey, lighthearted, but very loving, caring, you know, caring. And yeah, and so that was a turning point in my life. For that reason, so I could become a new person, so I could surround myself with new people, new environments. Because those new friends, for instance, they didn't drink, so we going on weekends and drinking was not on the menu. Instead, they would just come to my apartment, we'll play Call of Duty, FIFA, which are things I really enjoyed at the time. These are things I wanted to do at the time. I no longer wanted to go to clubs. That's another thing. Those friends that I started hanging out with didn't go to clubs, didn't go crashing into house parties. They were good people. Good, when I say good people, because honestly, a lot of my high school friends too, when I think about it, they're good people too. They were caught in this cycle. There was a few bad apples that were assertive. They asserted themselves, and so that was the sort of vibe. Yeah, so we would just on weekends, they'd just come to my apartment. We'd hang out. We'd play Call of Duty. We'd go for walks in nature at nighttime on like Friday night at like 11 p.m. Things like that. These are the kind of things I wanted to do. This is the kind of person I wanted to become. And so, but really, so here goes the really impactful thing, other than me just being free to become the new person that I wanted to become, is I stood up and I knew how to set boundaries. And that was a turning point, because that skill of setting boundaries would come in very, 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 very handy later on in my life, still up to this point. And really, that was really freeing. That was really like a turning point. I stood up for myself. I stood up for my values, for who I wanted to become. And yeah, and I do remember when that's it. I let go of that. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. my development accelerated. And I really, that's when I really started to develop myself, develop my confidence. And I started to do a lot of these practices like reprogramming my mind, becoming a new person, reading. I started reading books. I read Napoleon Hill's book, How to Think and Grow Rich, and that's the first time I was exposed to the idea of reprogramming your subconscious mind, becoming a new person. And that's when the development just accelerated, man. When I let go of those friends, which again, I just send them nothing but love and blessings now. I don't know what they're up to, because yeah, I let go of them. That's it. I've met a few of them a few times after that. Funny enough, when I started making YouTube videos, one of them, who's one of the good apples, right? The really good guy, actually reached out to me and he came and we hanged out, and he was also wanting to become a different person. So that was pretty cool. That was really cool. But otherwise, what's interesting, here's what's interesting. When I started making YouTube videos, I make YouTube videos in 2015. A lot of these friends started leaving me comments on YouTube, very respectful. They've seen someone like, okay, wow, he's a completely different person. You know, very respectful comments, very, very encouraging. So that was nice. Even though I didn't hang out with them again, but again, most of them, God bless them, they were good people. But at the time, they had to be let go of. And probably even now, probably for most of them, I probably wouldn't have much in common with them. Now, here's another interesting one. I had to actually continue the process of letting go of friends as I continued to just go on about the journey of life. And I had to do this with everything. Okay? So there was another period of my life where those new friends, I actually had to let go of them. Also, because I had to become a new person. So the moral of the story, thank you very much for staying. These are the perks of staying and actually paying attention till the very end. The moral of the story is, what's the moral of the story? Oops, brain fart. No, the moral of the story is, don't be afraid to let go of old habits, of old friends, of people that no longer serve you. And the first time I didn't do it gracefully, but just do it gracefully. Okay? Let go very gracefully, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't look back and move forward. Because some of these old, I know some people just travel, they go somewhere else completely different. And I get it, because they want a new city, a new town, a new country altogether. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to let go of the past, because it will liberate you to live fully in the present and to explore yourself and to plot a future that is more desirable to you. See you in the next video.